Previous couple of slides, we have described some conditions that are sufficient to ensure that if we have a depreciation or devaluation of the local currency, so if E goes up, then the current account balance improves. What is this sufficient condition, also known as Marshall-Lerner condition? The elasticity of demand of imports, domestic, plus the elasticity of demand of imports, foreign, summed together needs to be greater than 1. If this happens, that's enough to guarantee in our simple world in which we have only import and exports of goods and services and not other transactions, that the current account balance will improve. Now, when is it more likely that this condition will be satisfied? Well, let's think about long run and short run situation. In the short run, it's less likely that this condition will be satisfied. Why? Because in the short run, demand tends to be less elastic. So think about, for example, the situation of a producer of, say, trucks that has to import tires from some producer abroad. Suppose that the exchange rate goes up, we are in the United States, and so there's a depreciation of the dollar, and all of a sudden tires are more expensive if we import them from abroad. Well, I've already maybe written a contract with a foreign producer that constrains me to buy tires with this producer, with this supplier, for the next year. And getting out of that contract is costly, there are penalties. So in that case, even if the exchange rate went up, I'm locked in that contract. And so for a little bit, imports will stay where they are, and the current account balance as a consequence will not improve. So this is the idea that in the short run, even if the price change, quantity might not be that sensitive, so the elasticity of demand will be fairly low. The same will be true in foreign countries that import our goods, okay? But in the long run, the situation is different. I'm not locked into the contract. I have time to look for new domestic suppliers, for example, and I have time to look around. And so a small change in price in the long run means that I can find substitutes for the imports, and so in the long run it's more likely that the elasticity of demand of imports will be larger. So in the long run, for this reason, it's way more likely that that Marshall-Lerner condition will be met, and so that when we have a depreciation of the local currency, we have an improvement in the current account balance. If we put together these two situations and we think about a government that thinks, maybe I want to do a devaluation of my currency so I can solve my problems in the current account, then we get a picture that might be very similar to what we see in slide 41. We're starting at time 0 with a negative balance of trade, which means that if there's no other transaction, the current account balance is negative. We'll see that after we enact at T0 the depreciation, the current account balance worsens for a bit. This is the time period in which the elasticity of imports is very low. Then in the long run, as time goes by, the elasticity of imports becomes bigger, and so the current account balance progressively improves. So if I'm a government, I want to be careful, because if I want to achieve a quick improvement of the current account balance, even if it's true that a depreciation of the local currency will lead eventually to an improvement in the current account balance, that will happen only with a delay. This type of dynamics of the current account balance is known as J-curve, and economists have been studying that for quite a long time.